It's time to break down the complete backstory of the Spot. Now, before the Spot became a trans-dimensional super being,
I am literally splitting the fabric of space and time.
he was a brilliant scientist named Dr. Jonathan Owen. He was an employee of Alchemax on Earth 1610 and worked under the head scientist Olivia Octavius, better known to her enemies as Doc Ock. Alchemax was a research organization funded by the Kingpin, Wilson Fisk. He hoped that his investments in Alchemax would enable him to reunite with his deceased wife and son. The company's goal was to bring Fisk a new version of his family from another dimension. And the person who made that vision a reality was Dr. Owen. But by exploring dark matter in the multiverse, Dr. Owen would transform into a villain capable of destroying entire dimensions. His desire for respect would not only lead him to threaten Miles Morales and his family, but also the entire Spider-Verse. Now, back when Dr. Owen was a scruffy, long-haired, up-and-coming scientist, he discovered how to use dark matter to create portals to other worlds. By smashing together subatomic particles, Dr. Owen saw that he could theoretically create tears in the space-time continuum, which would allow him to unlock the multiverse. And for this accomplishment, Dr. Owen was recognized with Alchemax's Breakthrough of the Year award. Now, originally to test the viability of the collider, Alchemax scientists developed a human-sized particle collider, but they inevitably saw that they needed to scale up the design, so they headed to Brooklyn. To build Kingpin's Super Collider, according to the art book for Into the Spider-Verse, construction crews used abandoned subway tracks to secretly transport equipment and materials underneath the city. And when the massive project was finally finished under the supervision of Alchemax scientists, the collider was shown to be capable of opening interdimensional portals. Dr. Owen's theories in mathematics had shown to be right, and the success kind of made him a rock star scientist. I mean, not only did he work closely with Dr. Octavius, but he was also recognized for his years of service at Alchemax, and after getting a new haircut, apparently he was pretty attractive for a scientist as well. But obviously, that prestige and those good looks would inevitably fade away on his path to explore other dimensions. You see, to test the new collider's capabilities, Dr. Owen began to draw in and collect the radioactive spiders who created alternate versions of Spider-Man across the multiverse. The specimen they collected could teach them about how beings would behave in different realities, and those spiders were most likely chosen as the primary subjects to research because Spider-Man was one of the Kingpin's greatest enemies. But one of the spiders they pulled onto Earth 1610 would be taken away before it had the opportunity to create a Spider-Man in its world. You see, before the spider in Earth 42 was able to bite Miles G. Morales, it was taken from that universe by Dr. Owen, and that would alter the timelines of both dimensions forever. Without that spider in Earth 42, no Spider-Man could be created there, and on Dr. Owen's Earth 1610, a new Spider-Man would rise up. You see, Earth 42 Spider inevitably escaped from the Alchemax Collider facilities, stumbled upon the Miles Morales of that universe, and that spider bit him, giving him the powers of Spider-Man. Dr. Owen eventually located and recovered the lost spider, but it had already been killed by Miles. To make matters worse, the original Spider-Man of that dimension contributed to the Super Collider producing an explosion that put it out of commission. But of course, Fisk ordered the machine to be rebuilt. And actually, when Fisk made that request to Dr. Octavius within the Alchemax campus in the Hudson Valley, Dr. Owen was there too. But he was just having a normal day in the cafeteria until a new Spider-Man and his chubby old mentor arrived to steal their plans.
Selecting a bagel?
Dr. Owen was one of many scientists who chased after the new spider people with a weapon in hand, but he was the only one who was hit by a bagel, and that bagel was felt across the multiverse. At the time, though, Dr. Owen brushed off the hit and got back to work even though he was aware the collider was dangerous. Through the collider's previous explosion, the Alchemax scientists were aware that the machine was unstable when it drew upon multiple dimensions at once, and they were aware that there was a risk of a black hole forming beneath the city, but they were unwilling to fight against Wilson Fisk and give up their life's work. When the collider was reactivated with the hopes of finally bringing Fisk a new family, a variety of other spider people who had been pulled in from the last collider test arrived on the scene. And because of their intervention, before Dr. Owen's very eyes, he was forced to watch his colleague live die battling them. but nevertheless, he continued forward on his own mission. After the Spider People returned to their own dimensions, Fisk fought the new Spider-Man on Earth 1610, and while that battle went on, Dr. Own was working to collect some of the dark matter that was being given off from the Collider. But when Spider-Man reversed the polarity of the machine and caused an explosion, the dark matter Dr. Own had contained was set free and was unleashed upon his body. The dark matter completely transformed him. It turned his skin white, showcased the dark matter he could control through spots across his body, and it tied him to every universe in existence. But before Dr. Own fully understood what had happened to him, in the aftermath of the accident, his life seemed to be over. He lost his face, the respect of his colleagues, the love of his family, and the life he knew. He felt like he had become a monster. For the next year, Dr. Own could have reflected on how his life choices of working for a murderous criminal mastermind and a brilliant yet deranged scientist and ignoring the danger around his experiments may have contributed to his current situation, but he didn't do that. Instead, Dr. Own became obsessed with the reality that he was connected to Spider-Man. He was fascinated by the realization that by bringing Earth 42 Spider to his dimension, he created the hero who turned him into
The Spot.
But even though Dr. Own had taken on a new alias and began to fixate on Spider-Man, his transformation into a true villain was far from complete. He didn't even fully understand his powers yet. He had never faced Spider-Man before, and he didn't even know how he'd become a legitimate threat. By the way, if you enjoy the videos I create, please consider supporting the channel and going deeper with the community over on Patreon, which is linked down below. Over there, you can get exclusive weekly live streams with me, early access to new videos, and the ability to chat in our community's private Discord server. You see, the Spot was kind of hoping that turning to a life of crime and getting a little revenge would be an easy way to make his life a little bit better. The Spot kind of just figured he'd use his souls to get some money and beat up on his nemesis, but he quickly realized that being a villain would be a little bit harder than he was expecting, and to earn Spider-Man's respect would take some work too. When the Spot first fought Spider-Man, Miles was distracted. Spider-Man left the Spot partway through the battle. He made jokes and belittled him, and he even called him a villain of the week. But for as much as Miles thought he was fighting one of his typical supervillains, the Spot knew he was being underestimated, and he hated that Spider-Man was another person who made him feel empty, especially when he was the only reason Spider-Man had powers in the first place. To the Spot, Spider-Man was an ungrateful, arrogant, and misguided hero, and he longed to show Spider-Man why he should take him seriously. But when the Spot accidentally kicked himself into himself, he began to actually see how he might be able to accomplish those desires. He was finally seeing just how far his powers could take him.
My holes can take me anywhere.
What the Spot discovered was that his ability to control dark matter could allow him to not only open portals to other places across space and time, he also could use his holes to travel across dimensions. Spot had
The power of the multiverse in the palm of my hand.
which is a beautiful callback to Doc Ock's realization from Spider-Man 2.
The power of the sun in the palm of my hand.
But there was one issue the Spot had to fix.
I'm out of spots, wouldn't you know it?
So, Dr. Own did what he knew best. He acquired the parts necessary to construct a microparticle collider in his apartment. In a single evening, Dr. Own built the machine, tapped into the city's power, and generated enough concentrated dimensional juice to destabilize the quantum space in his living room. And all of a sudden, he had enough power to jump across the multiverse.
He's making his own portals.
What?
He can jump wherever he wants. He could be a total cannon killer.
But you know what's interesting about the Spot's time across the Spider-Verse? He never glitched.
You stay in this dimension too long, your body's gonna disintegrate.
Alchemax scientists in the Spider Society learned very quickly that your cells would begin to decay as soon as you entered a different dimension, but the Spot never did when he left Earth 1610, and I think that's because his powers connected him to every other world in the multiverse. I believe he exists beyond the original dimension because the dark matter that courses through him lives in every world. But to access the entire multiverse and to fully unleash his powers, the Spot determined he needed to supercharge himself with the dark matter from a fully operational super collider, like the one he had built on Earth 1610. That inevitably led him to Moonbatten on Earth 50101, where he was forced to face Spider-Man and a few other Spider people again. Sure, they tried to stop him from getting to Alchemax, but he was committed to
Live up to our potential. You'll finally have a villain worth fighting. and I won't be just a joke to you!
You see, the Spot had formed a plot that he believed would be able to finally fill the hole that was left inside him since his accident. The Spot believed that he should fill himself with more darkness, more power, and enact more vengeance than anyone could have imagined for him. And after taking in all of the dark matter from the Collider, his plans came into focus. He was going to rip apart Spider-Man's world, destroy everyone the hero loved, and he was willing to disrupt the Spider-Verse and kill every Spider-Man in existence to make it happen.
I'm gonna take everything from you, like I took everything from you.
What the Spot didn't know was that if Spider-Man actually intervened and stopped the death of his father, he would be disrupting a canon event that could cause a chain reaction that would completely destroy his own universe and possibly even the entire Spider-Verse. Regardless, the Spot knew Spider-Man would come after him, but he felt confident that he could not be defeated. He had reached the pinnacle of his power. He was fully committed to being a world-destroying villain, and it seemed like no one could disrupt his plans for the future. Now, I have to be honest, this is a special video for me. The reason I started making videos in elementary school was because of Spider-Man. I made sets out of shoe boxes and played with my action figures in front of a VHS camcorder. Over the last 10 years though, I've been making videos on YouTube primarily about Disney and animated movies, so this is actually my first video on this channel talking about Spider-Man. And I have to say, it feels amazing to be able to make a video about a new epic Spider-Man franchise that reminds me of the one I grew up with and originally inspired me. I think it's just a super fun and humbling full circle moment for me that I just really wanted to share. So genuinely, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a magical day.